Hello, and welcome to First Page Fridays, where we review and edit the first page that someone has sent in. It could be the first page of a story, of a chapter, of a novel. I don't know. I haven't even read it yet. We're going to read it over and do an edit. If you would like to submit your page for a free edit, you can do that. There's a link below in the show notes here. And don't forget to like and subscribe because we're going to be doing this every Friday. And there's a lot to learn, even if it's not your page that we're talking about. There's a lot to learn just from watching what other people are doing. So let's jump into it. Our first task is to simply read it through. If anyone saw me half over the railing shouting, "Take me with you," they would notify the authorities, which was why I remained seated in my bamboo lounge chair as a ship's horn blasted in the distance. That and the possibility I would sink if I got on board. You see, sailors considered female passengers bad luck in the old days. When a literature teacher brought it up in high school, I mentally rolled my eyes so hard. But I guess it stayed with me because the memory resurfaced at the sight of the boat leaving the harbor. Recent developments had softened my opinion on superstitions like warm halva, a proposition coming out of left field in my dad's nasty fall I could have handled. But probably losing a promotion because I had to take time off, that was the dreaded third bad thing. I felt positively cursed. A soft breeze of salt air kissed my face, and I shook my head to clear it. Sailing away was an impossible wish anyway. I had to stay. My responsibilities chained me to port. So I drank my frappe, coffee, and occasionally stirring with my neon pink straw, pretended the 3 by 2 meter balcony was a deck and the freshly painted blue railing a bronze handrail. Best I could do. The sun blinded me, so I changed my chair's angle. Too soon, my gaze drifted to my phone lying screen down on the round glass table next to me. All right, so I'm guessing this is literary fiction, possibly memoir, but definitely not like one of our usual genres. So if anyone saw me half over the railing shouting, "Take me with you," they would notify the authorities. Now, it's worth noting that I do story and line edits, so there might be some copy editors might have an opinion on how you've punctuated and or like quotation marks to capitalize the take. I'm not going to worry about that. We're looking more at content here. I am curious why anyone would, if you shouted, "Take me with you," why people would call the authorities. They might think you were odd, but it seems that this extreme reaction makes me wonder, like, are you wanted by the law? Like, if you draw attention to yourself, are you likely to be arrested? Or is this just kind of like a slightly hyperbolic reason that you're not shouting? I also wonder about this railing. So when I picture this, uh, so if anyone saw me half over the railing shouting, "Take me with you," they would notify the authorities. I am picturing kind of the railing right along the docks of water here, which is why I remained seated in my bamboo lounge chair. So I'm curious, like, I don't know. I guess my only real experience with docks is in like San Francisco's Pier 39, and there aren't bamboo lounge chairs like along the railing of the water. So I'm a little curious about the geography here. The more we read, the more I kind of got the sense that this was like a hotel room balcony. We'll get to more of what led to that, but like there's definitely opportunity here for some clarification of if anyone saw me half, and I would say like leaning, maybe. Oh, let me put on the suggestions here. Leaning, or I guess it could be like crawling half over. I don't get the sense that this is a character who's like crawling half over the railing. So maybe leaning half over the railing, shouting, "Take me with you." They would notify the authorities, which was why. Okay, and so then, yeah, if anyone saw me leaning half, they would know. They would notify the authorities, which was why it was we're kind of settling into our tenses here, which was why I remained seated in my bamboo lounge chair as the ship's horn blasted in the distance. That and the possibility I would sink if I got on board. So this raises another question. Like, would you sink? Or would the boat sink? Or would you fall off? Like this could use a little bit of clarification, that and I'm getting the sense that there's kind of like a snarky sarcasm here too. So you could say that, and the near certainty that if and instead of got on, I would say boarded, I would find some way to go uh to fall in, to fall, I don't know, fall in and sink to the bottom. I think you can be a little more specific. The possibility that I would sink if I got on board, because like if you're on board, you can't sink, right? But the boat could sink, or you could fall off. But I think a little bit of specificity here would even help with the what I'm gathering is kind of a sarcastic voice here. So that is a suggestion. And as always, all of my edits are suggestions. It's your story. You do what works best for you and what works best for your story. Okay, so I would also, so the clarity around like the, where is this railing? So again, on our first pages, we generally want to ground our readers in where and when, and you do we know we're near water because there's a boat taking off, but I wonder if there's an opportunity. Boats take off from Alaska, they take off from Hawaii, they take off from Los Angeles, Singapore. Like there's some opportunity here to, okay, we've got a bamboo lounge chair, but I don't know that that's a hint at like where we are in the world. I wonder if you could peer through some palm trees or look out over the glaciers, or I don't know, find some specific geographical hint for us of where we are. And then I would encourage you to stay in this scene for just a little bit longer, because we jump here and first, so from here you jump from first person to second person, which is always a little like awkward. So I would cut that. I would just say sailors considered, female passengers bad luck in the old days. And you might even start in the old days to like transition us into that thought. But I also kind of feel like this thought is, I don't quite see how it ties into the story yet. When a literature teacher brought it up in high school, I'd mentally rolled my eyes so hard that dot dot dot. So when you say so hard, it implies that there's another part of the sentence there. So I would just cut that and just say I'd rolled my eyes. And I don't know how we mentally, you could just say you rolled your eyes. I guess mentally rolled my eyes. That could be a voice thing. I'm going to leave it. It does raise a question for me. How does one mentally roll their eyes? I think you could just roll them. But I guess it started with me because the memory resurfaced at the sight of the boat leaving the harbor. So no, I'm curious. Oh, it stayed, but I guess it stayed with me because the memory resurfaced at the sight of the boat leaving the harbor. At this point, I'm really wondering, why is she watching this boat leave the harbor? Is there someone on it that she wants to be with? Because the take me with you, when I was first reading this, the take me with you to me seemed like something you would yell to somebody. I guess you could just yell it to a boat if you just wanted to get the hell out of town, but it's a little ambiguous, and I wonder if you could make it more specific. So what is happening with this person like right now that they're sitting there watching a boat leave the harbor? That's what I would like to get in. That's my encouragement to stay in this scene of which was why I remained seated in my bamboo lounge chair as a, let's say because you're watching a specific ship, the ship's horn blasted in the distance. And I'd also be curious, like, is it a cruise ship? Is it a sailing ship? Is it a dinghy? Like, I wonder, I'm picturing a cruise ship, so I'm gonna put cruise ship there. The cruise ship's horn blasted in the distance. That and the near certainty that if I boarded, I would find some way to fall in and sink to the bottom. Okay, so and then there's a lot of ideas in here. So female passengers are bad luck. Your high school teacher brought it up. You thought it was lame, but now the memory is resurfacing as you're sitting there at the harbor watching the boat leave. So I'm wondering why this is an important memory right now. So what seems like what you're implying is that you've encountered some bad luck. And I say you, I'm talking about this character, that this character has encountered some bad luck. Recent developments had softened my opinion on superstitions like warm halva. I have no idea. I've never heard of a superstition about warm halva. I feel like I should pause and Google that, but I'm gonna stay with you here. So definitely try not to use references that a percentage of people will not get. Now, I am an audience of one, so it's hard to like survey me and be like, what percentage of readers are not getting the warm halva reference? And it may be that your audience absolutely will, but just so that you know, this audience, this reader, doesn't know what that means. A proposition coming out of left field and my dad's nasty fall I could have handled. Okay, so what you're saying is women are bad luck on ships, so you used to not think it's true, but now you're starting to believe it as you would, which is a little odd because you're not on the ship. So there's like a little bit of linkage that isn't quite landing for me here. And then you're saying, this sounds like you're saying that like you've softened your opinions on superstitions, that like you've had some bad luck. A proposition coming out of left field is vague enough that like it doesn't really land. I think you either need to be specific here or more general. I'd had a run of bad luck, but but the kicker was I'd lost a promotion because I'd taken time off to help my dad. That was the dreaded third bad thing. Okay, so this reference I do get. My mom talks about this. Bad things come in threes, right? People die in threes. I get that, but you haven't introduced that idea. So I think maybe instead of like going off on like jumping us back to like your literature teacher and you rolling your eyes, which is a whole like jump, like just a momentary flash to you as a high schooler. And we don't know how old this character is yet. So we don't know how long ago that is. It raises a lot of questions. You might just from here say that in the clear certainty that if I boarded, I would find some way to fall in and sink to the bottom because bad things come in threes. My dad had a nasty fall. And then I'd lost a promotion because I couldn't take off. Or so you have to get the specific. Yeah, to have the three thing land, you have to kind of say what this thing is. So that's what I would do. So I would say because bad things come in threes. And then I would cut all of this and I would say something like whatever the bad proposition was, because propositions aren't inherently bad, right? You can have a proposition for a date with a new lover. You could have a proposition for a raise. You could, there are different, people can propose different things. So I would be specific. So I'm not even sure where to do this because I don't know your story. I'm just going to say specific first thing. Specific first thing. My dad's nasty fall. And my dad's nasty fall. No, because if we're saying that this would have been the third thing, bad things come in three. So we could just say, my dad's nasty fall. I think this is a great detail to get in. My dad's nasty fall. And then probably losing my job. And probably is not super compelling. And the fact that you could probably, if it's not certain, give us a little more. I maybe even likely. Okay, that I had likely lost my shot at a promotion because I had to take time off to care for him. And then you want to bring it back to this idea of third, that I felt positively cursed. And I was just waiting for the third bad thing. Bad thing. I felt positively cursed. A soft breeze of salt air kissed my face. I shook my head to clear it, and I shook my head to clear it. Sounds like you're shaking your head to clear it of the soft breeze or the kiss. So if we make this two sentences, it's just a little cleaner. A soft breeze of salt air kissed my face. I shook my head to clear it. Oops. I'm typo queen here. Copy edits are not my thing. Story is my thing. First pages are my thing. But you will notice if you follow my channel that I hire a copy editor because copy editors are special, unique people. They catch all those teeny tiny things. All right. A soft breeze of salt air kissed my face. I shook my head to clear it. Sailing away was an impossible wish anyway. I had to stay. Again, this raises the question was sailing away actually an option? It may not be that important if you can stay focused on what's actually happening. It's a good callback to like watching but maybe this needs to be a sailing ship. The sailing ship's horn. Okay. Sailing away was an impossible wish anyway. I had to stay. My responsibilities chained me to port, so I drank my frappe coffee and occasionally stirring with my neon pink straw, pretended the 3 by 2 meter balcony. Okay, so that's right. That's why I started picturing the balcony. Was a deck and the freshly painted blue railing a bronze handrail. Best I could do. Okay. I don't know why the detail, I wonder if this is a detail that is important. Remember, on your first page, you have really limited real estate, and so you want to throw in details that tell us about the character. Maybe this does. I mean, I'm assuming this is a female. That's my impression. I don't know why I'm getting that impression. Maybe it's the neon pink straw. Maybe it's doing its job. But any details like pretending that the 3 by 2 meter balcony. Now, is this a hotel balcony? Is this an apartment balcony? Do they live here and they feel trapped? Or if it's a hotel, why are they staying in a hotel? Is it the balcony of a restaurant, of a library? Like, there's opportunity here to give us a few details. I don't know why I said library. Libraries don't have balconies, but they could if you made one up. There's opportunity here. So hotel balcony. I'm making this up. I don't know what your story is, but get the detail in there and it tells us a lot. Like if this woman is having really tough times, but she's staying in a hotel for some reason, that's curious to me. I'm like, okay, tell me more about that. If this is her apartment that looks out over the water, then she's having tough times, but she also lives in an apartment that looks out over the ocean. So how hard are they? I don't know. And then I think if she's not, I mean, unless boats and sailing are a big part of this story, I think you can move away from this as a theme. Sailing away was an impossible wish anyway. I had to stay in my responsibilities. I don't know why I'm picturing, I guess if she's having a frappe coffee, is a frappe coffee cold? Or I'm thinking frappuccino, which is cold. But again, this begs the question for me of what part of the world is she in? If it's a cold, like a frappuccino coffee during something that's like more like a milkshake, I'm picturing this as like a Miami balcony versus like an Anchorage balcony. The 3 by 2 meter hotel balcony or apartment, maybe let's go with apartment. Balcony. It was a deck and the freshly painted blue railing, a bronze handrail. So again, the freshly painted blue railing, that's an interesting detail, but is it important to the story, like as a whole? Because the details I would really love to see more of are my main character here. I don't know if they're male, female, how old they are, what they do for a living. I know they have a father. I know they're feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities. But think of some of the details that you could actually get into this, like whether it's an apartment, balcony, or a hotel. Could you have them, I don't know, push some hair out of their face or catch their reflection in the glass door behind them? Like, what race are they? How there's just this right now. This character is kind of a blank slate. And so when I see details like the neon pink straw and the freshly painted blue railing, those aren't, it's not that they're bad details. It's just that on this first page, the more important details are about, you want to introduce the character and the setting. So I would say choose your details a little more carefully about what you're going to spend time on bringing your readers into the story. Tell us where and when. Frappe coffee tells me it's pretty modern. If it's a cruise ship, that's pretty modern. Sailing ship, who knows? I mean, this literally could be the 1800s. The voice doesn't sound super 1800s, but it could be. So set us in time and place. Tell us a little bit more about the character. Find sneaky ways. You know, you don't have to be like, I was a 35-year-old woman standing on my balcony in Miami. Like, you want to find sneaky ways to get the details in so that by the time we get through the first page, we at least have some sense of who we're going to be spending our time with in this book and where they are in the world. The sun blinded me, so I changed my chair's angle too soon. My gaze drifted to my phone lane. Okay, so phone, at least that puts us in modern day. So I spoke too soon on that one. Phone lane, screen down on the round glass table next to me. So at least I know that we're modern day, but still there's a lot of details that I think if you simplify some of the backstory and the rumination, you could get in a few details about what's actually happening. We know there's some drama around the dad having had an accident, and I'm assuming he likely lost their shot at a promotion. But what do? Like at the law firm, you could say at the law firm. I don't know if they're a lawyer. But the point is, like, you can put in some details in places that tell us about this character. And that will ground us. And then ideally posing the question of, you always want some kind of question on the first page. And to me, the question here is like, is this person going to kind of pull themselves together? They're facing a lot of challenges. And frankly, for me, that's enough. That's enough for me to be interested in a story and keep reading. It doesn't have to be like, a dead body on the first page, but just this like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I just want to sail away. But I can't. I got to deal with reality. And then so the question is like, are they going to be able to deal with reality? And that's good. So this first page has definitely posed that question. I think it will be a lot stronger if you can ground us in some of the specifics of the scene and the character. All right, happy writing. I'll see y'all next time.